morning, guys, and welcome to iFun Smart Racing today from Greyville, the Poly Track. And 8 race card. We have 20 kilometer wind, bit of rain, 3 millimeters last 24 hours, 29 millimeters in the last 7 days. That's quite a chunk. So, but it is Poly, so we should be fine. There is a message here on Kalula. Very impressive debut by Nose Behind Sweet Scented Green. Will win a few on that debut. It has won 2 subsequently after that debut. So we'll look at that in a second. But let's start off with the first, where the first choice for me is Indigo Moon. The roughie for me is Airbus, and the other probable for me is Space Race and Unkumazi. Space Race, Paul Peter Warren Kennedy. You can see Paul Peter Warren Kennedy is coming to make a little bit of a splash here in Greyville, as they have the favorite in the first, they have a greeny favorite in the second, and they also have a greeny favorite in the fourth. Of those three, I think Lotus is the strongest one, the last one of the day, for Peter to finish off his day. The first one will have a bit of competition from Indigo Moon, Airbus, and Umkumazi. If I look at that, I'm going Bipot 11185 and the bigger perm, the 4, My Big Vision. But if I look at the 1200 Greyville Poly track here, Airbox didn't do all that well, but that was on his debut, and he has done much better subsequently with his last, a 679 on the bat figure over the 1000 meters. So he's a little bit better over the 1000 by the sounds of it. The 1400 he goes even worse. So it does look like he's a little bit better over the 1000, but he does take the 2.5 kilos off the back to mitigate that risk. Does have the best adjusted time, speed rating, and overall ranking, and he is an only runner from Gatsby. So at 14 to 1, he does get my respect. The third choice, Space Race, and the first choice, Indigo Moon, was purely based on the Greyville Polyform over the 1200. You'll see that Space Race has only done the 1400 Turffontein, 1160 Turffontein. Now, there is question marks regarding his poly form, but he does have very decent form at Turffontein. He hasn't really had much support at Turffontein, but he has had his best run with Warren Kennedy on board at a 6.55 bat, and that compares very well against the 5.29, 8.48 and 6.68 on Indigo Moon. I opted to go for Indigo Moon as my first choice, just purely because AI and machine learning says so, and because he does have proven 1200 Greyville Poly form. He's had 3 runs on the 1200 Greyville Poly, and he's had 3 seconds on the 1200 Greyville Poly, including a second with Donovan Dillon on his last run. So Indigo Moon, Airbus, Space Race. Then Unkumazi does have a very decent 1200 Greyville Poly in a mini feature, with Reed on riding when there was some support. Gordon takes the ride, but he does have the flame. He does have a very nice 57.83 on the adjusted time, and if I compare that into the 58.09 year and the 60 year and the 60 year, then he's definitely in with a shout as well on that 5.29. So not much separating those 4 for me. 11.185 with the 5th place, My Big Vision. Also pretty decent before his little rest on the Greyville Poly track. Second choice, Queen Anne's Lace, is a greenie, but it doesn't have a whole lot to spare on the balance of the field. I think that Just the Wind is not far out, with Lyle Hewitson today coming to take the ride. I think that Zibo Oasis, the 10, could do it. I think that Michael Roberts, given that he's only got the 3 for the day, and he does have Kalulo that's got a mention here as well, he could upset. So I've got 2, 5, 10 and 3 as my 4 choices in the bipot. 2, 5, 10 and 3, which is Queen Anne's Lace, Just the Wind, Zibo Oasis, and Corpse Macy. I don't think Siberian Sunset is too far off it either. But judging on Queen Anne's Lace, that hasn't done the poly before, we'll have to see how the poly runners goes for Paul Peter, but he does have the best bat 84 form, and he actually does have the best bat 42 form as well, because these are are zeros, and that does mean that that's actually a bug with that distance. It doesn't mean that strike is the best. So that being said, Amble Inn is the only runner from Guthrow with gates. Blinkers fitted 33 to 1, and it does have a nice 18 bat figure, which is not all of that far from the best. 12, 15, 11, 13 on Ziva Oasis. So it doesn't have a whole lot to do, given that the best exact course and distance bat is 11.95. That 18 is actually not that far off, and he does get the blinkers fitted today. So he's not a completely hopeless runner at 33 to 1. So what have I done? I've gone 2, 5, 10, and 3 in my PA here. And yes, Queen Anne's Lace might very well win, but there's no value at 85 to 100. Third race, I think Rock Flight is probably one of the better runners on the race. Warren Kennedy again. You'll see Warren Kennedy pops up quite a bit. Peter and Kennedy here, and then Peter and Kennedy here, and then Van Sale and Kennedy here, and then what I think Peter's best run is Lotus in here. So Warren Kennedy does feature quite prominently. The biggest runner for me against Rock Flight is maybe the only runner for Mark Dixon, with Keegan Lamelo taking the ride, in Maxime Dumont. Now, he's only won 2000 Greyville Poly race, wasn't all that great when Dylan was riding 32-32 against the 614. You can understand why Rock Flight is the best bet on the card, and that's why the Green Star 1 pops up here. Question marks whether the blinkers is a good idea over 2000 meters, because the horse actually needs to settle, and he's probably not going to settle with a blinkers strike over the 2000 meters. But Gavin Van Sale only has the 2 for the day, so he must know better what he's doing than I am. Then Maxime Dumont, my second choice, so 3 and 1. My third choice, Golden Duck with Lafferty, doesn't have the same kind of bat figures as his 6 here, but then Maxime Dumont's best is a 1606, and a 1700 he goes to 12, so that does mean that these kind of runs in 13 and 11 is also in it. And then Frank Robinson and Koala, little Koala Bear, is also not too far out of it with the 17 blue bat, exact course and distance, 17 over the 1700 meters. Frank Robinson's only got the 2 for the day, hasn't had much support in the betting, so maybe more of a trifecta quartet prospect. So I have gone 3 and 1 with the bigger perm 7 and 5, and then my next best, it's difficult to think that the rest has a chance to actually win, but Noble Nova by Yeti is the next 2. So Rock Flight, quite a strong runner here with maybe a bit of backup from Maxime Dumont. In the fourth, Lotus, probably Paul Peter's best chance for the day. He does have exceptional bat figures here, 7 on the bat 42 form, 4 on the red one here with Kum Naidu, which is an interesting runner as 12 to 1 with the best back curve in the field. And if I look at back curve, 0 to 2.7, and then the next best is only 7. So I do think that 10 and 6 is my first 2, or 6 and 10. And then the next best is Beljar, the only runner for Andre Nell that has the best exact distance, median speed, and the best blue bat over the 1900 Greyville Poly. So 6, 10, 12, and then Santa Vittoria. Glenn Cotson is in really decent form. He actually had 3 runners here the other day, and all 3 of them was in the wins all places, which does suggest that he's not a bad out of it here. 6, 10, 12, and 11 is all of them into my pick 6, I think, and I'm hoping that that 4 is enough. Otherwise, next best is something like Amber Hall, which is also under Nell and Goth Wright. Only has 2 for the day, so potentially also has a upset material in Amber Hall, as he's only having his 6th run, and does therefore have some upset potential, now going over the 1900 for the first time. So I'm thinking in my pick 6, instead of 6, 10, 12, 11, I'm actually also going to add the 4. And then Tombola is my next best, coming from a rest, and that does mean that that rest could mean anything could happen. So some roughies to consider. So I'm going 6, 10, 12, 11, 4, and 1. In the fifth of the day, Kalulo is the one that I've spoken to you about, but Gavin van Zyl only got the 2 for the day, and Warren Kennedy takes the ride on this one as well. So Wizard of Oz, my second choice. My third choice is Hop, Skip, and Jump, because Peter Muscat has only got the one other one for the day, and that is a top rated. So I'm going 1, 2, 6, and then 3 as my next best, or 2, 1, 6, 3 as my top 3 runners. Kalulo, Wizard of Odds, Madame Patrice, and the number 6 Hop, Skip, and Jump. 1000 meters Greyville Polyform 11 on the bat figure here. But if we move up here, there hasn't been any Greyville Poly on the 1000 meters yet, and it didn't work out all that well over the 1200 either, but he has done much better recently, moving from 49 to 11 to 6 and 7 on the 1000 meters at the fall, which does bring him in for a bit of a roughy status. And then the Wizard of Odds with its 6.42, when Warren Kennedy was taking the ride, does suggest that Gavin van Zyl might be trying for his double here today. And then Kalulo, on his only one run, the 8.28, which was the one that was behind the sweet scented green, that made me make a note of it, is another one to definitely take into consideration. So 1 and 2, the first 2 strongest runners in this race, followed by a hop, a skip, and a jump, and Madame Patrice 2163. And for the bigger perm, Naushima, Dennis Dryer's coming to form, and he does need to show a little bit of improvement from 15 to 18 to 16. His merit rating has gone 75, 77, 80, and now he has won 3 in a row, gone to 85. Maybe the handicap is on top of him now, because his bat figures has now gone a little bit outside of the range of striking, in my opinion. But well, don't ever not leave him in. If he's on 3 in a row, he could do 4 in a row. The next race, bit of an interesting top rated for me here. Ashley Fortune and Lyle Hewitson only run at 12 to 1 in Raisa. And the 6th race, the last leg of the bipod, I have loaded up 3, 6, 10, 11, and 1. I think it's tough. Justin Snaith can do the double, so Mzanduzi has to go in on that kind of bat figure. Very much 1.4 behind Raisa. Then Beat It, Duncan Howells does have improvement as the best exact course and distance backed CD. So he can see my vision. Hill's got the only runner for the day at 12 to 1, tongue tie fitted, and some hidden back 5.78 here. Decadent Lady, I saw his run the previous time was much better. He's got the best adjusted time and speed rating, so I have to respect him. With Cornish Spiss, yeah, Randolph's taking the ride now, so he should get a little bit more out of him today. And for a horse that's dropping to the 1200, he's done the 1500 and the 1450 in the fastest speed rating, and he's got the fastest adjusted time as well. So don't leave him out of 10 to 1. So I'm going 3, 6, 10, 11, and 1. And the bigger perms, 7 and 9. Purple Moon is up. Alison Wright's only runner for the day. Maybe we should leave him in the normal small pool as well, because there's improvement expected. Best stat form, bomb curve, and improvement on the horizon here back from a rest. And then Retail Therapy. So 7 and 9 is my next best in the roughy department. Wouldn't be surprised if they actually also have much credentials to win here. It does get a little bit trickier here at the end, 7th and 8th race as well. I have gone with Good Rhythm and then Symphonica and Ziva Le Winter and Ad Altissima and Sniper Shot and Dandolo here in the 7th race. I've looked at it from all angles. I have ended up going with as much as 4 in the PA, 8, 3, 5, and 7. I do think that it's maybe a little bit trickier. General Franco is the favorite. I think I'm going to brass the favorite here. Justin Snaith and Donovan Dillon. Yeah, he could probably improve in heaps, being a Justin Snaith horse. But that being said, I do think he's coming up with some decent runners here. General Franco, that is. You'll see he's hasn't, on the merit rate at 94, done much of a performance recently, and he hasn't done the Greyville Poly either. So I'm taking a chance to leave him out. Maybe it's not a good idea to leave the favourite out, but that's what I'm going to do. It's the last leg of the jackpot. Probabilities of the favourite winning in the last leg of the jackpot is never very high. So, yeah, I'm going 8, 3, 5, and 7 in the bigger perm, 9, 1, and 6. Snipe shot, Danilo, and gold, cold heart cash. And then the lucky last in the 8th race, not too much easier either. You've got Dennis Bosch with 2 runners here, one with Lyle Hewitson and one with Warren Kennedy, and that is a big statement in itself. So I've gone with Theravada and Gentleman's Way as my first 2. Then I've gone with Forest Jump as the 14 to 1 roughie, 2.54 on the bat is right in the middle, smacking those 2 Bosch runners there. Then Kannemeyer and Hammam, he's only got the 2 for the day. Then Barnhorst and Kennedy has got 2 in here as well. Agrella on right, so normally right is the right one, right? And that bat curve does pop out here as well. So Bordeaux also one that has to pop in. I've gone 6, 2, 4, 8, and 7, but I do think that the 11, Truly Wicked, which is the stablemate with Agrella's only 2 for the day. And Star Crusade, only runner for Puller, is 2 that can absolutely surprise. You'll see the bomb figures here. You'll see the 0 here on the, so coming from rest as an only runner, normally a good sign for a surprise upset. 6, 2, 4, 8, 7, 11, and 3. That's what I have gone in the last leg. It's a tough last leg, so caution is advised in the lucky last, guys. Yeah, tough race. It's easy in the beginning. It does get tough in the end here. So good luck out there, and caution is advised today.